It's night. Rome is quiet. The empire, once loud with soldiers, markets, politics, has finally fallen into silence. And inside a dimly lit tent, on the edge of a distant battlefield, there sits a man powerful enough to command armies, yet gentle enough to question himself. A man worshipped as a god by millions, yet painfully aware of his own mortality. A man born to rule an empire, yet humble enough to admit he does not control even his own thoughts. His name is Marcus Aurelius. But tonight, he isn't an emperor. He isn't a general. He isn't a philosopher. He is simply a human being, writing quietly to himself, trying to make sense of the chaos inside the human heart. He writes of anger, fear, distraction, pain, loss, duty, meaning, the shortness of life, and the importance of staying calm in a world constantly falling apart. And these writings, these private journal entries, never meant for the world, became one of the greatest books ever created. Meditations, a conversation between a man and his soul. You know, my friend, people imagine emperors as unshakable mountains, strong, powerful, immune to weakness. But Marcus Aurelius was more like a tree in the storm. He bent, he suffered, he doubted, he questioned everything. He lost friends, children, mentors. He fought wars he didn't want and ruled a kingdom he didn't choose. And in the middle of all this, he asked himself the same questions you and I ask today. How do I stay calm in chaos? How do I stay good in a world that isn't? How do I control my emotions? What is truly in my control? How do I live before I die? His answers did not come from pride or authority. They came from humility, from observing nature, from understanding people, from studying his own mind. And every page of Meditations is like a lantern placed carefully along the dark path of life, not to illuminate everything, but just enough so you can take your next step without fear. This book teaches us something philosophy almost always forgets to say. Life is short. Pain is guaranteed. People are unpredictable. But your mind, your inner world, is yours. And if you can master your inner world, no emperor, no enemy, no past, no future, no fear, no loss can take your peace away. Marcus Aurelius wrote reminders to himself like, do not be controlled by fear. Do not waste time arguing with fools. Do not let anger guide your actions. Control your mind, not the world. Live simply. Live honestly. Live fully before time takes everything. These were not quotes for Instagram. These were survival notes from a man drowning in responsibility and trying to stay human. This is why Meditations still speaks to us 2,000 years later. Because technology changes, empires fall, civilizations transform, but the human mind remains the same. We suffer the same fears, the same uncertainty, the same ego, the same desire to be seen, the same struggle to stay calm in a world full of noise. Marcus Aurelius met it all with quiet strength. And in this journey, you and I will walk beside him as he teaches us how to think, how to feel, how to let go, how to remain unshaken when life tests you. So, my friend, take a slow breath, sit back, and open your mind gently. We are about to enter one of the wisest books ever written, not by a philosopher sitting in luxury, but by a man who carried the weight of the world and still found peace. You're listening to Wise Alchemy. Let's begin. My friend, before Marcus Aurelius teaches us how to live, he teaches us one truth that all wisdom begins with. There are things you control and things you do not. Everything in life falls into one of these two circles: your thoughts, your actions, your choices, your reactions. These belong to you. But everything else, the weather, the chaos of the world, the behavior of others, the past, the future, the misunderstandings, the losses, the unexpected turns, these belong to life. The problem is, we spend our entire lives worrying about life's circle instead of our own. And Marcus Aurelius begins meditations by reminding himself, almost like a whisper in the dark, you have power over your mind, not outside events. And that becomes the foundation of all Stoic wisdom. Imagine a great fortress, a strong stone structure built high on a hill, protected from storms and invasion. Marcus believed your mind can become such a fortress. Calm, unshakable, untouchable. The world can rage outside. People can be unfair. Situations can collapse. But inside, you remain steady. Not because life is easy, but because your mind is trained. This is what Marcus wrote to himself on those cold military nights. The mind adapts and turns obstacles into fuel. The fortress doesn't avoid storms, it learns to stand through them. That's the Stoic way. One of Marcus's most famous lines is, "When you wake up in the morning, expect to meet selfish, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and rude people." He wasn't being negative, he was preparing his mind. Because here is a truth you've experienced your whole life. We suffer not because people are difficult, but because we expect them not to be. Marcus says, people act according to their nature. An angry person will act angry. A jealous person will act jealous. A foolish person will act foolish. Why be surprised? Do lions bark? Do fish climb trees? Do storms apologize for raining? People are the same. They behave according to their nature. But the wise person, Marcus reminds himself, doesn't fight reality. He accepts it. He remains calm. He stays centered. Because the best revenge is to be unlike the one who harmed you. Marcus Aurelius wrote during war, during plague, during political betrayal, during the collapse of the Roman Empire, and yet he reminds himself, if the task is assigned to you, you are capable of the task. Life gives you exactly the challenges designed to shape you, not to break you, to sculpt you, to sharpen you, to evolve you, to reveal the strength you don't yet believe you have. So when you're overwhelmed, when life feels unfair, when the world feels heavy, Marcus would say, you were born for this. Not because it's easy, but because you have the power to control your response. Before reacting, before getting angry, before letting emotion grab you, Marcus always wrote one thing: pause. A tiny moment of silence between stimulus and response is enough to save you from regret. In that pause, you ask, is this worth my peace?
Is this under my control? Is this reaction aligned with the person I'm becoming? If the answer is no, you return to your inner fortress. Because calmness is not weakness. Calmness is mastery. Marcus Aurelius had seen death. He had lost children. He had buried friends. He had watched empires crumble. And so he writes, "All things are temporary, even your fears." Every worry you carry will dissolve with time. Every pain you feel will transform itself. Every person who hurt you will eventually fade into a distant memory. Nothing lasts forever, and that includes suffering. This is not meant to depress you, but to free you. If everything is temporary, why hold on so tightly? Let life move. Let life change. Let life flow through you instead of against you. My friend, the first chapter of Meditations teaches you 3 things. Control your mind, accept the nature of people, and flow with life instead of resisting it. This is the beginning of the Stoic path. Not to escape the world, but to face it with strength. Not to suppress emotion, but to understand it. Not to avoid chaos, but to remain unshaken within it. You too can build this inner fortress, brick by brick, thought by thought. And with each chapter, it becomes stronger.
Marcus Aurelius lived every day with a quiet awareness. You could leave life right now. He didn't write this to create fear, but to awaken clarity. Because most of our suffering comes from forgetting how temporary everything truly is. Imagine Marcus Aurelius, the ruler of the largest empire on earth, sitting alone in his tent with a small oil lamp flickering beside him. Outside, soldiers whisper. Winds howl. The empire depends on every decision he makes. And yet he writes to himself, "Soon you will have forgotten everything. Soon everything will have forgotten you." This wasn't sadness. This was freedom. Because when you truly see that time is short, your priorities become sharp as a blade. You stop wasting days on anger, on gossip, on people who drain you, on fears that don't matter, on chasing things that won't follow you to the grave. Impermanence gives meaning to the present moment. Marcus often compared life to a flowing river. Every moment passes. Every breath disappears. Every day becomes memory. He writes, "Time is a river, a violent torrent of events, and no sooner has something appeared than it is swept away. So why cling? Why obsess? Why chase things beyond our control? Life flows on whether we hold on tightly or let it pass gently through our fingers. The wise choose the latter." Marcus Aurelius didn't fear death. He feared not living while alive. He wrote, "It is not death that a man should fear, but never beginning to live." We waste years waiting. Waiting for the right time. Waiting for motivation. Waiting for success. Waiting for courage. Waiting for permission. Marcus whispers, "Begin now. Begin before you are ready. Begin before life forces your hand. Begin while you still have time. Because time is the one thing no emperor could control, not even him." This is one of Marcus's most haunting insights. When you kiss your child, whisper that they may not be here tomorrow. Not to create sadness,
but to create gratitude, because nothing in life belongs to us permanently. Not our possessions, not our relationships, not our achievements, not our youth, not even our bodies. Everything we love, everything we fear, everything we cling to, is borrowed for a short moment, and that moment is all we really own. When you understand this, you stop fighting life's changes. You flow with them. To the Stoics, impermanence is not tragedy. It is liberation, because knowing time is short gives you permission to live deeply, to love fully, to speak honestly, to forgive quickly, to appreciate the morning light, the sound of laughter, the feeling of breath in your chest. You stop living on autopilot. You wake up. Marcus writes, "Do not act as if you will live 10,000 years. Death hangs over you. While you live, while it is in your power, be good. Be good. Be present. Be alive. Not next year. Not someday. Now." My friend, impermanence teaches one final lesson. The present moment is all you ever truly possess. You cannot change yesterday. You cannot control tomorrow. You cannot replay time. You can only decide how to live this moment, with awareness or distraction, with gratitude or entitlement, with courage or avoidance, with presence or regret. Marcus Aurelius writes, "Confine yourself to the present, not as an escape, but as a return, because the present moment is where peace lives, where gratitude lives, where life actually happens." For all his power, Marcus Aurelius knew one truth that humbles every human being. The real enemy lives inside us, not out there, not in the world, not in other people, but within the mind, in our impulses, our fears, our desires, our reactions, our ego. The Stoics believed that every day is a battle, but not a battle with swords or soldiers, a battle against the parts of ourselves that pull us away from the person we want to become. Tonight, we step into that battle with him. Marcus Aurelius wrote often about desire, not desire for love or art or beauty, but desire for things outside our control. Status, approval, recognition, reputation, praise, comfort, pleasure. He knew how these desires control people like puppeteers. He writes, "If something external disturbs you, it is not the thing itself, but your judgment of it. Desire is a trick of the mind, a promise that says, 'Once I get this, then I will be happy.' But that moment never comes. Because as soon as you get one desire, the mind invents another." The Stoics teach us, freedom is not getting what you want. Freedom is wanting less. Not in a sad, miserly way, but in a powerful, clear-sighted way. Because wanting less means nothing controls you. Marcus Aurelius knew impulse well. He battled anger. He battled frustration. He battled the desire to react. He writes, "The mind must be trained to see things as they are." Impulse is what happens when you act before your mind has time to understand. It's the angry outburst, the late-night regret, the emotional decision, the needless fight, the unnecessary words. Marcus teaches, take a moment before reacting.
you will never regret the pause. In that pause, you choose the person you want to be. Without the pause, your emotions choose for you. Most people imagine discipline as force, pressure, strictness. But for Marcus, discipline was gentle. It was returning to himself, returning to clarity, returning to purpose, returning to calm. He writes, "Do what needs to be done without complaining or drama. Not dramatically, not perfectly, just consistently." Discipline to him was simply the act of showing up for your soul, even when tired, even when discouraged, even when nobody is watching, because he knew the soul becomes dyed by the color of its thoughts. Every thought repeated becomes character. Every reaction becomes habit. Every habit becomes identity. Discipline is how you choose your colors. My friend, Marcus Aurelius understood a painful truth. The mind is naturally chaotic. He wrote, "The mind is a place of many currents. Thoughts rush in, emotions flare, memories rise, fantasies distract, ego whispers, fear pulls, desire tempts." The Stoics didn't try to suppress this. They tried to understand it, because you cannot defeat what you refuse to examine. He reminds himself, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. The obstacle within you is not the end. It is the path. Your anger teaches you what you care about. Your fear teaches you where you must grow. Your desire teaches you what you cling to. Your struggle teaches you who you can become. The battleground is your classroom. Marcus often wrote to remind himself, "Do not trade your integrity for short-lived desire." Most desires are quick, loud, and shallow, but character is quiet, slow, sturdy. Every time you resist an impulse, you strengthen your character. Every time you act with intention, you strengthen your character. Every time you choose calm over chaos, clarity over emotion, duty over distraction, your character becomes a fortress. This doesn't happen overnight, but it happens. Marcus Aurelius believed that each person's inner battle is heroic. Not dramatic, not public, not rewarded with applause, but sacred. Because if you conquer your mind, you conquer everything. You become untouchable by circumstance, unmoved by chaos, unshaken by fear. Your mind is your kingdom, and mastering it is the greatest victory you will ever achieve. My friend, if there is one thing Marcus Aurelius feared more than war, more than enemies, more than death, it was ego. He knew that ego, the constant whisper of me, is the root of nearly all human suffering. It makes us compare. It makes us jealous. It makes us angry. It makes us defensive. It makes us obsessed with approval. It makes us fragile. Ego promises importance, but gives instability. Marcus understood this deeply. One of his starkest reminders: you are a soul carrying a corpse. He wasn't trying to scare himself. He was reminding himself, this body disappears. This power disappears. This reputation disappears. this empire disappears. So why inflate yourself with pride? Humility was not weakness to him. It was truth. It was clarity that frees the mind from illusion. Imagine the most powerful man in the world sitting alone in a tent with a small notebook, writing lines like, "Stop talking about what a good man is. Be one." Or, "Do not be overheated by praise, nor crushed by criticism." Or, "Everything is opinion." These were not public speeches. These were reminders to keep his ego quiet. Because he knew a noisy ego creates a noisy life. A quiet mind creates a powerful life. Marcus Aurelius ruled nations, commanded armies, and influenced human history. Yet he constantly wrote, "Soon you will be dust. Soon the people who praise you will be dust. Soon those who remember you will be dust." Not to diminish life, but to focus it. Ego says, "Look how important I am." Wisdom says, "Look how temporary I am." So let me live well, not loudly. Let me be kind, not grand. Let me act with purpose, not pride. He knew that importance is an illusion built by the ego, and illusions consume us. Marcus Aurelius wrote often about the danger of comparison. He knew comparison is the ego's favorite weapon. It makes you feel superior or inferior, but never peaceful. He writes, "Do not waste your life looking at others. Look at yourself." Because every second spent comparing steals a second you could have spent growing. The Stoics believed, your only competition is your past self, nothing more. Marcus Aurelius achieved more than almost any person in history, yet he wrote, "Do not go around puffed up because of your deeds." Why? Because pride locks you in the past. If you cling to achievements, you stop progressing. You protect your ego instead of expanding your soul. Marcus warns, do not let praise intoxicate you. Pride makes you fragile. Humility makes you unbreakable. A humble person adapts. A humble person learns. A humble person listens. A humble person grows. That is true strength. Marcus Aurelius also writes, choose not to be harmed, and you won't be. The ego tells you they insulted you, they disrespected you, they hurt you. But the Stoics say, it is not the action, but your interpretation that causes pain. If you remove ego, most wounds disappear. You stop taking things personally. You stop assuming intentions. You stop letting others' behavior control your inner peace. This is how you become free. My friend, Marcus Aurelius had everything: power, wealth, armies, legacy. But every night he reminded himself, none of this belongs to me. None of this defines me. None of this will matter soon. What mattered was the quality of his character, the state of his mind, the good he did quietly, the peace he cultivated, the humility he practiced, the soul he sharpened. He believed a small ego creates a vast soul. A big ego creates a small life. And that, my friend, is the gift of this chapter. Let go of ego
and you drop the heaviest burden you have been carrying.
Marcus Aurelius believed something simple, profound, and radically peaceful. Live in harmony with the universe, not by controlling it, not by resisting it, but by flowing with it. Tonight we explore what that truly means. Marcus writes, "The universe is change. Life is opinion. Every moment the universe shifts. Seasons turn. People change. Fortunes rise and fall. Bodies age. Empires bloom and then crumble." The Stoics accepted this truth with complete openness. Nothing stays the same. Nothing is guaranteed. Nothing is promised. And so the wise person does not cling tightly. They breathe. They adapt. They accept. Not with weakness, but with clarity. Because resisting reality only exhausts the soul. Marcus Aurelius practiced what the Stoics called amor fati, the love of fate. Not tolerance, not reluctant acceptance. Love. To the Stoics, fate wasn't a chain. It was a choreography. Life moves you in ways you cannot predict. You lose people. You gain others. Opportunities appear. Doors close. Unexpected storms hit. Unexpected blessings arrive. Marcus whispers, "Whatever happens was meant to happen." Love every twist of it. Not because every event is good, but because every event contains something good to learn, grow, or awaken. Fate is not an enemy. It is a teacher. Marcus Aurelius never wrote, "Why is this happening to me?" Instead, he wrote, "Why should it not happen to me?" He saw the universe as a vast, living organism. Every being, every event, every challenge has a place in the grand design. When you stop believing that the universe owes you a perfect life, you stop suffering unnecessarily. Pain remains. Difficulty remains. Challenges remain. But the second layer of suffering, the resistance, disappears. And suddenly, you can breathe again. Marcus Aurelius saw himself not as an emperor above the world, but as a cell inside a vast, living body. He writes, "What is bad for the hive is bad for the bee," meaning you are not separate, you are not isolated. You exist within a web of people, nature, energy, life. Your actions influence the whole. Your pain is shared. Your joy contributes. Your kindness matters more than you think. From this perspective, anger softens, pride dissolves, isolation fades, meaning grows. Marcus Aurelius didn't use the modern phrase, but he lived by its essence. Accept what you cannot change. Improve what you can. Know the difference. He writes, "If something outside your control is disturbing you, your pain is not due to the event, but to your estimate of it." Acceptance is not surrender. It is alignment. When you accept reality, you align yourself with the universe instead of fighting it. You move with the current, not against it. You conserve energy, clarity, and peace. Marcus loved nature deeply. He studied how trees bend in storms, how rivers carve stone, how seasons cycle effortlessly. From this, he learned, nature does nothing unnecessary. Every event, even those you hate, contains function, logic, meaning. Not all pain is punishment. Some pain is preparation. Some pain is growth. Some pain is awakening. The Stoics would say, life does not act against you. Life acts for your evolution. To Marcus, the universe is a swirling chaos of birth and death, joy and grief, gain and loss. You cannot stop the storm. You cannot predict it. You cannot outsmart it. But you can become the calm center within it. Not by force, not by control, by acceptance. By understanding your place in the larger order, by flowing with change instead of clinging to permanence. Marcus writes, everything harmonizes with me, which is harmonious to thee, O universe. Meaning, if the universe flows this way, so will I. If this is the path, I walk it. If this challenge arrives, I will face it. If this loss comes, I will endure it. If this blessing appears, I will receive it. This is the Stoic balance. The universe moves, and you move with it, gracefully. If there's one thing Marcus Aurelius understood deeply and painfully, it's anger. Not the temporary frustration you feel when someone cuts you off on the road. Not irritation from a small inconvenience, but the deep anger that comes from betrayal, injustice, cruelty, ignorance, ego, selfishness, ungrateful people, and unfair situations. Marcus Aurelius lived surrounded by politics, conflict, betrayal, and humans being, well, human. And yet, he wrote pages and pages about one truth. Anger is weakness. Calmness is power. Let's step into that truth together. Marcus begins with a simple, almost childlike truth. People behave the way they do because that is who they are. Not who you want them to be, not who they pretend to be, not who the world expects them to be, but who they actually are. If a snake bites, should you be shocked? If fire burns, should you be offended? If the wind blows, should you take it personally? Marcus writes, blame yourself for expecting what is not possible. If someone is rude, it's because rudeness is in their nature. If someone lies, it's because lying is in their nature. If someone betrays, it's because betrayal is in their nature. Your peace should not depend on their nature. Marcus Aurelius believed something beautiful. To understand all is to forgive all. Forgiveness, to him, was not about excusing behavior. It was about seeing clearly. People act from ignorance, fear, insecurity, childhood wounds, unmet needs, ego, confusion, lack of wisdom, and suffering. If you could see someone's entire life, every fear, every trauma, every moment of confusion, your anger would soften naturally. He writes,
Whenever someone offends you, remember that he acts the way he does because he believes it is right. Not because they want to hurt you, but because they don't know better. This doesn't justify harm. It explains the mind behind it, and explanation reduces anger. Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself, anger harms the angry. Think about it. When you're angry, your heart races, your mind becomes cloudy, your judgment weakens, your energy drains. The person you're angry at might be sleeping peacefully while you burn inside. Marcus wrote, "How much more harmful are the consequences of anger than the things that caused it?" Anger punishes you for someone else's behavior. And that, Marcus believed, is a terrible trade. Modern psychology teaches this too, but Marcus wrote it 2,000 years ago. The best answer to anger is silence. Not silence from weakness, but silence from strength. Silence creates space. Space gives you clarity, composure, control. In that space, you can choose kindness, firmness, boundaries, wisdom, or simply walking away. Anything is better than reacting impulsively. Marcus believed, if you cannot control yourself, you have already lost. Marcus never says, be kind because it's nice. He says, be kind because it is powerful. Kindness protects your inner peace. Kindness disarms enemies. Kindness reveals emotional mastery. Kindness ends cycles of harm. Kindness shows you are guided by wisdom, not impulse. He writes, the best revenge is not to be like your enemy. Anyone can react with anger. It takes strength to respond with calm. It takes wisdom to respond with compassion. Marcus Aurelius forgave others not to free them, but to free himself. He knew the truth. Holding anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. Forgiveness, to the Stoics, was simply letting go of the weight. You don't have to reconcile. You don't have to forget. You don't need to trust again. You only shift the burden off your own heart. Forgiveness is freedom. My friend, every time you feel anger rising, ask quietly, what expectation did I have that reality did not meet? You'll discover anger is not caused by events. It's caused by expectations. Marcus believed that anger is a teacher. It teaches you where your ego hides. It teaches you what you value. It teaches you what wounds remain. It teaches you where you must grow. And growth is the Stoic path. Marcus Aurelius leaves us with this wisdom. The wise man remains gentle even when the world is not. And my friend, that is true strength. Not the ability to win arguments, not the ability to intimidate, not the ability to react quickly, but the ability to hold peace inside your soul
when chaos stands before you. Marcus Aurelius didn't ask the question most people ask today. What do I want from life? He asked something deeper. What is life asking of me? To him, identity wasn't a personality trait. It wasn't a profession. It wasn't a label. Identity was a responsibility, a sacred duty, a daily calling to live in alignment with nature, with virtue, with reason, with humanity. Tonight, you and I step into that calling. Marcus Aurelius believed that humans are like cells in a body, small parts of a vast living organism called the universe. He writes, "What is not good for the hive cannot be good for the bee," meaning your purpose is connected to others. Your actions matter beyond yourself. When you help someone, you help the whole. When you hurt someone, you hurt the whole. When you bring calm, peace spreads. When you bring chaos, chaos spreads. To Marcus, your duty is not to be great, but to be useful. Not to be praised, but to contribute. Not to shine alone, but to shine together. Marcus Aurelius wrote bluntly, "Why were you born? To lie under warm blankets?" He wasn't mocking rest. He was challenging laziness. Nature, to him, designed you for action, for creation, for contribution. Look at the world. Bees make honey. Trees produce fruit. Rivers carve valleys. The sun rises each day. Birds build nests. Seeds push through soil. Everything in nature fulfills its purpose. So, Marcus believed, you too are meant to act, to build, to grow, to help, to serve, to improve. You are meant to participate in life, not sleep through it. Marcus knew identity is not written in thoughts, or dreams, or intentions. Identity is revealed in your actions. He writes, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." Meaning, don't tell people what you value, show them. Don't talk about being disciplined, be disciplined. Don't preach kindness, practice kindness. Don't chase titles, chase character. Marcus Aurelius believed your identity is a reflection of your daily choices. Who you are is what you repeatedly do, not what you occasionally feel. Marcus wrote that every human has a role. Some are leaders, some are teachers, some are healers, some are creators, some bring light, some bring order, some bring comfort. But regardless of your path, your duty remains the same. If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. Your purpose can be expressed in countless ways, but it must always be guided by virtue. Virtue to the Stoics means wisdom, courage, justice, and self-control. These four pillars are the compass for every meaningful life. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Meaning, your struggles are not interruptions. They are instructions. Your challenges are not punishments. They are invitations. Your wounds are not failures. They are openings to deeper strength. Life is constantly sculpting you through hardship, through responsibility, through discomfort. You do not become yourself by avoiding difficulty. You become yourself by moving through it. Marcus believed purpose is not found in the future. It is found right here, in the work you do today, in the kindness you show today, in the choices you make today, in the thoughts you correct today, in the mistakes you learn from today, in the small duties you fulfill today. He writes, "Do what is yours to do, nothing more, nothing less." Purpose is not a grand destiny. It is a quiet devotion to the task in front of you. You don't need to know your whole path. You only need to take your next step. My friend, Marcus Aurelius teaches us that identity is not ego. It is responsibility. Purpose is not achievement. It is alignment. Life does not ask you to be perfect. Life asks you to be true, to show up, to act well, to contribute, to remain humble, to remain human. This is your duty. This is your path. This is your power. If there was one thing Marcus Aurelius understood with painful clarity, it was suffering. He endured war, plague, political betrayal, the death of friends, the loss of children, heavy leadership, sleepless nights, endless responsibility. Yet every night, he returned to one truth. The soul becomes stronger through obstacles. To Marcus, suffering wasn't an interruption. It was the curriculum of life. Marcus Aurelius wrote something time has never forgotten. The obstacle is the way. Meaning, what you fear, you must face. What you avoid, you must understand. What blocks you, you must turn into fuel. He believed challenges were not barriers, but teachers. Pain teaches patience. Loss teaches gratitude. Failure teaches humility. Rejection teaches clarity. Hardship teaches resilience. Life shapes you through friction. Just as fire strengthens steel, your struggles strengthen you. Marcus reminds himself, remember how often you've already endured. Think about that, my friend. Everything you feared would break you. You survived. Everything you thought you couldn't handle, you handled. Every storm you believed would swallow you, you walked through. Your track record for surviving hard days is 100%. Marcus would smile at that. He'd say, "You are stronger than your fear admits." Marcus Aurelius wrote, "External events cannot harm the soul. The world can wound your body, stress your mind, exhaust your emotions, but your inner spirit, your true self, cannot be touched unless you give permission." This was the core of Stoic resilience. Pain is real, but your response is yours. You may not control the storm, but you control the captain within the ship. This is where freedom lives. The Stoics believed suffering wasn't personal. Life doesn't single you out. Life doesn't target you. Life doesn't punish you. Life simply unfolds. Marcus writes, "Whatever happens was destined for you from the beginning." Not in a fatalistic way, but in the sense that every hardship has something valuable inside of it. Every struggle has meaning hidden within. Every pain awakens a deeper part of you. Even if you can't see it yet, life is shaping you. Marcus believed resilience wasn't just survival. It was survival with dignity. He writes, "If it is endurable, then endure it. Stop complaining." Not to minimize pain, but to empower you. If something can be endured, you can endure it. You don't have to love the pain. You don't have to pretend it feels good. You only need to know you can carry it and eventually grow from it. This mindset creates unbreakable humans. Even when surrounded by war, stress, loss, Marcus wrote, "The mind that is free is never harmed." Pain may visit your life, but suffering only stays if you let it. Your mind can be chaotic or calm, resentful or peaceful, fearful or courageous, bitter or grateful. The world gives you events. You give them meaning. And meaning is where strength is born. One of Marcus's most beautiful metaphors, the mind is like fire. Obstacles become fuel. Imagine a candle flame. When wind strikes it, it flickers, it trembles. But imagine a bonfire. The wind only makes it burn stronger. This is how Marcus Aurelius saw the soul. Not fragile, not weak, not easily broken, but strengthened by challenge, deepened by adversity, expanded by suffering. Everything thrown at you becomes fuel for a greater flame. My friend, Marcus Aurelius teaches us not to fear suffering, but to understand it. Not to collapse under hardship, but to rise through it. Not to curse pain, but to use it as a tool. Not to become bitter, but to become wise. He believed the world breaks everyone, but afterward, some are stronger in the broken places. And you are becoming stronger in the broken places. Marcus Aurelius was not afraid of death. He was afraid of something far more common: wasting life. He watched people chase wealth, titles, jealousies, arguments, opinions, status, while forgetting that every breath was one breath closer to the end. He wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think." Not to scare himself, but to wake himself up. Because the greatest tragedy is not death. It is living as if you have unlimited time. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself, "Do not act as if you were going to live 10,000 years." You and I, we live like time is guaranteed. We say, "Someday I'll change. Someday I'll chase my dream. Someday I'll slow down. Someday I'll live differently." Marcus whispers, "Someday is a lie." Time is slipping, softly, silently, without apology. Even now, this very moment, life is passing. And that realization, though uncomfortable, can awaken you. Marcus writes, "Life is short. Use the present well." Think about that, my friend. If life were endless, moments would be meaningless. Sunsets wouldn't matter. Conversations wouldn't matter. Love wouldn't matter. Kindness wouldn't matter. Purpose wouldn't matter. Everything is precious precisely because it ends. The Stoics believed that mortality is not a curse, it is a gift, a reminder to live with intention. Marcus Aurelius believed the greatest waste of life is living for the opinion of others. He wrote, "It is crazy to care so much about what people think who do not even know themselves." We lose years trying to impress, trying to fit in, trying to prove,
trying to be liked, trying to appear successful, trying to be perfect. Marcus gently reminds, those people, they too will turn to dust. Their approval is temporary. Their judgment is irrelevant. Their opinions vanish with them. But your life, your choices, your soul, that belongs to you. Stop living for others. Start living for the short, beautiful life you actually have. Marcus wrote, "Do not squander time, for time is the stuff life is made of." Money lost can be regained. Success lost can be rebuilt. Reputation lost can be repaired. But time lost never returns. Imagine your life as a bag of coins. Every day, a coin is taken away forever. You don't know how many remain. Would you spend them on anger, on fear, on regret, on people who drain you, on dreams you never start? Marcus would say, spend your time on what touches your soul, because in the end, only that will matter. Marcus Aurelius didn't fear death because he understood something profound. Death gives life its urgency. Urgency gives life its meaning. He believed that death is simply nature returning you to the universe. Just as a leaf falls but nourishes the soil, humans leave but nourish the world through love, through actions, through character. Death is the final teacher, whispering, live while you can. Start while you're here. Awaken before time runs out. Marcus wrote, if you live according to nature, you will never fear death. To him, a good life consisted of meaningful work, kind actions, moral character, inner calm, presence, gratitude, wisdom, courage, humility. If you live this way, then when your time comes, you won't tremble, you won't panic, you won't regret. You will close your eyes knowing, I did not waste the gift. My friend, Marcus Aurelius teaches us that mortality is not darkness, it is illumination. It is the force that sharpens your priorities. It is the fire that melts your procrastination. It is the truth that frees you from the opinions of others. It is the reminder that you are alive now. Not tomorrow, not someday, now. And your time, your precious time, is slipping softly. Marcus Aurelius spent his days leading armies, signing decrees, facing conflict, managing crises. But at night, in the quiet of his tent, he returned to one pursuit: inner stillness. Not the stillness of inactivity, but the stillness of the soul. The kind that stays calm even when the world collapses. The kind that sleeps peacefully while carrying great burdens. The kind that remains clear in moments of chaos. This is the heart of Stoicism. Marcus Aurelius wrote, nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled place than in his own soul. This was his sanctuary. When he felt overwhelmed, he didn't escape outward, he escaped inward, into reflection, into reason, into clarity. He believed that no matter how violent the storm, you can always create peace inside yourself. This inner calm is what makes you powerful, because the world cannot shake someone who is steady within. One of Marcus's deepest insights, a thing in harmony with its nature never struggles. Look at nature. A tree does not try to be a river.
A river does not try to be a mountain. A mountain does not try to be the sky. Everything simply is what it was designed to be. Marcus Aurelius believed you suffer when you try to be something you are not, when you follow the crowd, when you chase approval, when you wear masks, when you pretend to be more, when you ignore your inner calling. But when you live authentically, honestly, aligned with your values, your life flows effortlessly, like a river returning to its path. Marcus wrote this reminder over and over. Let go of the things you cannot change. Not because he was passive, but because he was wise. He didn't waste energy on the past, on other people's opinions, on fate, on rumors, on things outside his power. He focused only on his mind, his character, his actions, his duty, his response, his virtue. And life became lighter. This is harmony, the mind uncluttered by the unnecessary. To Marcus, virtue was the foundation of every good life. Virtue meant wisdom, justice, courage, self-control, kindness, honesty, and discipline. No matter what happens, he believed, you should always return to virtue. He wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." This was his compass, and it can be yours. Virtue creates peace. Peace creates power. Power creates clarity. Clarity creates purpose. This is the Stoic way. Marcus Aurelius believed gratitude was one of the purest paths to inner calm. He wrote, "Give thanks for everything that comes your way. Not just the blessings, but the challenges. Not just the joy, but the lessons. Not just the wins, but the failures." Gratitude transforms life. It softens the ego. It heals anxiety. It brings the mind back into the present moment. And the present moment is where stillness lives. My friend, stillness is not laziness. Stillness is not weakness. Stillness is not escape. Stillness is mastery. It is control over your mind. It is awareness over your reactions. It is freedom from chaos. It is strength born from clarity. Marcus writes, "The nearer a man comes to a calm mind, the closer he is to strength." You don't become strong by resisting life. You become strong by flowing with it, by remaining centered, by holding peace inside yourself even when the world shakes. Marcus often reminded himself, life is short. Live it well. Live it kindly. Live it bravely. He believed the best life is not loud, not grand, not filled with ego, but filled with purpose, calm, contribution, gratitude, presence, virtue, and love. When you live this way, death does not frighten you, because you know you lived fully. Marcus leaves us with the essence of Stoicism: to love your fate, to accept your nature, to master your mind, to live with virtue, to be calm, to be kind, to be free. This is harmony. This is stillness. This is the Stoic life. And that's it for today, my friend. You were listening to Wise Alchemy. The story ends here for now, but you and I will meet again. Thank you.